Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Pathfinder Lair. Today, I've got a special guest with me, one of the greatest in the Pathfinder YouTube community. I am, of course, talking about Tommy from Black Dragon Gaming. How are you, man?
Another day, How you doing?
Pretty good.
Excellent.
So let's get right into what this video is about. So, I want to talk to you about players who have never picked up a D20 before. Do you have any advice for those players who see all the options in Pathfinder 2 and are just overwhelmed with all the options?
Um, It's actually a pretty good question given that a lot of my recent Pathfinder 2 content has been just like picking through all of said options to try to make things that are really cool. Generally speaking, like when one is feeling overwhelmed with options, like I know it's hard to do, and this kind of reads as like, well, have you tried da da da? Thanks, I'm cured. But you can easily ease the overwhelmed feelings, honestly, if you just like have a basic idea of what you're trying to do at the table, whether or not you've like you said, picked up a D20 before. Uh oh, what am I trying to say? Like tropes or things you like from other sorts of presumably fantasy that you watch, and like maybe you're very into the big sword and board, I'm wearing armor and have an enormous sword kind of thing, in which case you would steer away from your castery types and closer to your champion fighter arcs, and vice versa if you're trying to like build Doctor Strange, right? Having that, at least that base at the beginning, is enough to narrow the field down, and then from there expand out what you need for that concept to make it work.
Okay, but I know some players who are trying to get into this game because their friends are trying to get into it, but they're not really into the whole like manga, or they don't really have any ideas as to what they would want to play, if you know what I mean. Like, they're not into anime, they're not into manga or anything like that, and they're just wondering, what do I play in this?
Mm-hmm. Well, then, if not like your average shonen, then I'm pretty sure everybody has watched the Avengers. Start with that. Start with the like, if you want to build something that is more, I have lots of technology and I'm going to explode you with it. The tech trifecta that is soon to be gunslinger, inventor, and the alchemist points you kind of closer to that direction. Whereas if you're trying to do like Thor is probably some kind of fighter, storm, sorcerer, something. I don't know what caster you want to put in there, but something to do flying and lightning powers and stuff, right? Everybody likes something, and it can always be translated down into the TTRPG universe. And if like it ends up not being a class you enjoy or a build you enjoy or a personality you enjoy, retiring it is always a thing. Just like, especially if you're new and you showed up. I actually had this happen with a player at one of my tables. She was brand new, showed up, rolled up a cleric of Sarenrae, and it wasn't really for her. She wanted a little less the dogma of the faith and a little more like, I want to shoot things with a bow. And so we retired the first character, and when we started book 3 of that AP, she came back with a Slayer, now having a little more uh my god, I cannot come up with words tonight. A little more visualization of what she was trying to do, and her enjoyment has done this over it, which is the win, right?
Right. Okay. Yeah, I also ran into this as well. Even now when I'm in a game, just recently, I was playing a tiefling rogue, a ruffian rogue, and and I got bored with it. So I retired that character, and now I'm playing a lizard folk animal barbarian.
Always good. The Iruxi has a big place in my heart. So I hear this. And I'm like, yes, yes, do that. It was like the one time I got to be a player in 2E. I played a Iruxi champion, and the
Yeah.
whole shtick was like ever stance the shield in front and then bite over the shield, and it was a lot of fun. I really enjoyed it.
Right, and
But yeah,
I really enjoy my barbarian. He's all about natural attacks, He's an animal barbarian, so he doesn't use any weapons at all whatsoever. He just uses his natural attacks.
because it would be bad if he did otherwise.
Yeah, right, exactly. But I mean, the truth is that even if I had weapons, I just couldn't use them when I'm raging because that's how the anathema works.
Mm-hmm.
So, you know. But I figured, you know, he's actually from the first world, so
Neat.
yeah. Mm-hmm. All right, so let's move on to my next question. So again, keeping in mind that these players are brand new, they've never picked up a D20 before. How would you go about picking a character besides just picking something that is like you?
Okay. That's actually an interesting question. Okay, so unlike me, one of the things I really like about TTRPGs is a good table is a good space to experiment with like uh personality types or configurations you are not, shall we say, right? And it's within that space, again, if the group is good, there's no judgment, there are no, like, there's an expectation to not be crappy, and then that's it. So you have this space to leave me, excuse me, at the door and then come in with someone who's very, very different from me, which honestly I feel like most people who play TTRPGs are doing, because I don't think a lot of us are like going to solve our problems by murdering someone, taking all of their things, and then now we're on a watch list for talking about this and I've said murder. It's not a far cry to stretch like somebody who has a different any kind of orientation than you do within that space. And you might actually learn a little thing or two about yourself, as also has been mine and lots of my friends' experiences, by like stretching that boundary again somewhere where the goal is to have fun and not get like super looked at funny by society, aside from maybe like the folks at the LGS who don't understand what TTRPGs are and they're just there to buy like board games or something, but they don't count.
Yeah, right. Also, I tell my players they need to pick out something that they will be able to live out their fantasies with, is what I tell them.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
That also makes a certain amount of sense. It kind of falls back to the like, what trope do you like the most? Do you wish you could squat 500 pounds? Let me tell you about this strength based class. That kind of.
Right. Mm-hmm. All right. So my last question for this video is, how do you grow your character beyond their dominant skill set?
If I'm honest, like presently when I get a chance to play a character, I do my best to stay so far from anything that's a dominant skill set for that like exact reason. It's one of the reasons I don't play like uh big angry frontline characters as much as I'll play like rogues, bards, alchemists, things that have more things to do. But when you're within that space where it's a bad mindset, but it's a mindset I see all the time. The like I'll say again, the frontline character has nothing to do during the investigation. You kind of just gotta put your foot out there, press the button, make the skill check. Short of like there's a 75-foot chasm. If you fail that jump, you're going to die. I'm not advising you to. Well, nah, it's okay. Tommy said I should just try, and then like you fall to your death. Don't do that. No, bad. But like in a universe where maybe you aren't the best at insert knowledge check here, but are trained, there's nothing wrong with throwing the dice. There's a 20 on all of them, and a good GM will still give you something to work with from your character's point of view. And oftentimes, a lot of the shortcomings outside of a your skill set can be solved with items and things. Like, particularly in the bounds of second edition, the numbers are a lot tighter, so a +1 item bonus means a lot more. So a climber's kit on a sorcerer who can't fly yet might not make them be the like athletic superstar that the monk is, but like it can help bridge that literal gap.
Yes, and another way you can do it is actually take archetypes. This is one of the reasons I love the free archetype variant rule, because it gives characters more options.
Yeah, that is valid. You definitely can. If you want to get outside your skill set, adding new skills to the skill set will, in fact, do that.
All right, so I think we're gonna wrap up the video there. Be sure to check out Tommy's channel over at Black Dragon Gaming. You can also check out my Facebook and my Twitter. You can also pledge to me on Patreon for exclusive perks. And until next time, let's play some Pathfinder.